I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys! So welcome! We're so excited to have you guys here. We're ready to get into little fires everywhere. Oh my gosh, we're gonna do season 1, episode 1 and episode 2 in our show today. So juicy. I mean, when somebody burned down your house and they think you win it, you know it's about to go down. Let me introduce my illustrious panel today. So first up, we have Chef Beans, who is a fan, and says he has been since the Cruel Intention days, and an even bigger fan of Kerry Washington, and has been since Save the Last Dance. Chef Beans.
What's going on, everybody?
Good to have you.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yo. So next up is Monty, a huge fan of the 90s. Really excited to be with us here today. A lover of all things TV and drama.
Love her. You got it right. I'm so excited to talk about all these little fires.
Yes. Oh. So, oh my goodness. The opening scene was just like, okay. It blew me away. What are you guys' overall thoughts about episode 1 and 2?
I thought it was absolutely wild. So much content, so many people to meet, and just really excited to dive in and get talking about everybody.
I'm totally with you, girl. Totally with you. I am just, everything I thought was going to happen, it's like, no, I'm so wrong. I'm so because after 1 and 2, I'm like, so clearly I have no idea what's happening in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Now, I really enjoyed the opening scene. It was kind of a trigger for me too, because my house has burned down before a couple years ago. Everybody was safe, so it's cool. Sam wasn't that much of a trigger, but I was just curious to see how it happened, which we aren't really privy to that information, but we got a couple clues possibilities. So I really enjoyed the opening scene. What about you, Kay?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really interesting how everyone just right away was like, it's Izzy. So I was like, I want to meet this Izzy who tried to burn down the house with this lady in it. I also, Trina, I don't see you up on my screen, but we can hear you. So I just want to say Trina Dong is with us, who has been a fan of Reese Witherspoon since election.
What's up, everybody? Thank you. I am here.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. Boy, it's pretty wild. Okay. So we meet out of the gate. We notice these two main female figures, Elaina, who's is Reese Witherspoon's character, and Mia, who's Kerry Washington's character. On the surface, they seem to be, complete opposites, very different women. I think I was surprised by how over the course of the 2 episodes, I kind of didn't like either. You usually have one person who's like, oh, this is the person we root for, and then, this is the antagonist. But I really didn't feel like that. What did you guys think?
Well, I feel like it was like a roller coaster effect. So I started off really liking Reese. Like, oh, cool. Like, it seemed like she has a big heart. But there were subtle / overt things that she was doing to where I'm like, time out. And even when they were flashing back with Kerry Washington, that's when I feel like we got more as far as her character development. I'm still feeling her out, but I wouldn't say there's either one of them that I'm like, I'm team this person or that person. Yeah, I'm still feeling both of them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely, go ahead.
Sorry, girl.
No.
Immediately, you want to compare, Reese's character in this show to Big Little Lies. But in Big Little Lies, she's endearing. Even though she's a little bit, OCD, she does things by the book, she's got a schedule. There's something about her in Big Little Lies where you're like, but I like you. With this, right, you're kind of like, I don't really like either of you. Both of you suck, sort of.
Right.
Exactly. I feel the same way. It's such a roller coaster going back and forth between these 2 women, and then you're on different teams every 5 minutes. They have amazing qualities. They have kind of scary qualities. People you want around in your corner, probably when in your time of need. but then otherwise we're not sure.
Yeah, I felt myself when it came to Reese's character as a mother. I really thought, like, I was like, she's a pretty solid mother. I mean, honestly, guys, they're both very controlling, which is really interesting. And I know Trina, we were talking about this earlier, manipulative in their own ways. I think on the think that Mia is like a free, loving, gonna be really cool mom, but actually she's just as controlling as Reese's mom is. It's just in a totally different, it's packaged in a different way. But I have a teenager myself, and I know I relate a lot to some of the things she was saying. Like, you know, I'm just trying to make good people. And then the husband's like, you trying to make good people, or are you trying to make people like you? Well, I mean, I think I'm a good person, so I guess I am trying to make them like me. You know, like, so there were some things that I was like, yeah, I could see myself doing that.
I think that both of them go they're always watching each other, right? It's like they're both FBI agents or something, trying to crack the case for everything that they talk about. They're just looking at each other, waiting for a lie or waiting for anything that they think they can investigate a little more, and they're just on eggshells the whole time. Both of them, neither of them have control of each other, and I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, they're both trying to figure each other out at the same time. That's
exactly.
Interesting. They're both calculating each other at the exact same time, and they both know it.
Right.
Yet they're so different.
Yes.
Yeah, I like how they're steering their manipulative ways against each other, but still not being in control. I think we're all saying the same thing, you know what I mean, as far as this power tug of war that they got going on.
So I know we see that Mia's character has something to hide, obviously, right? Like we see that she's having flashbacks. Super surprising to see Jesse L. Williams. Listen, I always love to see Jesse L. Williams. But so that was a surprise. So we know, like, they keep moving. So I feel like there's some hint of they're running from something, right? Like something's coming, you know, with her background.
Mm-hmm.
I think, do you guys get that same sense with Reese? Is she hiding something? Is there something in her background?
Well, I'm curious to dive into how she got into this super schedule / just to the T type person, because we see how she tries to control her household. These are the days we have sex. I'm going to color coordinate so that I know which lunch goes to each kid. Here's the schedule, everything like that. Even to how she had OCD with the dishes. Like how she kind of crumbled when Mia was like, I have to go now. So I'm curious if there are some skeletons in her closet as well. So
I think she's kept everything to herself. I think she's the one that knows her secrets and nobody else does. So that's why it's a little easier for her and she's a little more confident, because nobody knows, only her.
Can I disagree with all of you?
Yeah.
I don't think Reese had at least any worthy skeletons to talk about. Maybe she's a very simple life, and now she has this like grand life that she wants control of it. But I don't think her skeletons would be that exciting. I find the other skeletons that we're gonna hear of, these flashbacks we're talking about, I think those are gonna be the exciting skeletons we get.
Interesting. I mean, you could totally be right. We don't know enough truth about these ladies to figure it out.
That's true. That's going to be exciting to find out. Yeah, going down the road. So, well, what I find is interesting is that they're both working moms, right? So Elaina is working at this little small town newspaper where she has in the past interviewed Janet Reno. I thought that was a really funny touch. And Mia is an artist. We don't know how successful, we don't know. We just know that she moves and the subject of her art kind of moves depending on where she is. What did you guys think about them as working mothers, kind of in the jobs and in the roles they had?
I think it's interesting that, because I was trying to figure out why Reese does the job she does aside from love, because she has the biggest brick mansion in all of the land. So why is she there? but obviously it's because of the love and the history of what she did probably prior to all of that happening. But she clearly juggles it well because I think she has a lot less pressure. She doesn't need that money. She doesn't need the job. So her focus can be on the kids all the time.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
No, I really like how they're both handling their roles. I don't know if Mia per se enjoys her role, but you can tell she's used to doing what she has to do to provide for her daughter. But I don't feel like that pressure is on Reese because, as we can see, Reese is very financially stable. She has that area going on, but as far as connecting with her kids, I don't know if she has that same level of connection with them.
I don't think they've ever demanded it of her really either, except for Izzy. Izzy obviously is crying for all the help in the world and not getting what she needs. But I don't know that the other kids, I think maybe for them, it's easier for their mom to not be as connected with them emotionally, maybe.
I totally agree. They have all these other avenues. You can tell that they live different lives.
Right.
It's so interesting to see these two very, very different, very similar women have such different lives right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And to think like are going through the same thing. They go to the same school, and yet they are living such different lives down the street from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we see them obviously, join together when they're in each other's face looking at each other. And it's still, they both feel, I think, out of whack when they're even with each other, as if neither of them belong. So it's very awkward, I feel like.
You think that they look at each other because they're like, are we this familiar? Is that why I'm feeling this? Because we're so close to each other, yet we can't admit that we're such similar people.
Yes. And I also think it's interesting talking about the kids that Elaina has taken the time to be a little bit more delicate with Pearl, and Mia doesn't really care to get to know Moody. I'm not sure she's even met Trip, and she cares about Izzy though. There's that mutual connection there, but it's interesting how they're treating the kids too. But of course, Reese wants to play the hero with that.
Well, I connect with Mia on a lot of different levels. Kind of like what I was saying earlier when my apartment burned down a couple years ago. I know that I struggle with getting comfortable in certain places. So I wouldn't decorate. It'll be like still white walls, whatever, because I developed this mindset as far as I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So what I'm noticing with Mia, as soon as she said, okay, the 1 year lease, you have to sign it, she immediately shut down, like, no, cool. It's okay, I need to get up out of here, because I feel like that was somewhat of a trigger. I don't know if she had some type of commitment in the past that went left, or her relationship with attachments, I'm not sure. But I can tell it took a lot for her to tell her daughter, okay, you can paint more than one wall. Like, you could tell a lot of weight was just kind of like, I'm trying to be more vulnerable with this situation. But on the other side of town, you have people trying to look up my criminal record. So it's like, she's kind of going back and forth, I feel like, with her emotions.
Yeah. I think that the more that we get into the story and the series, the more we'll be able to just uncover, and hopefully we'll have our fans along for that entire journey. Chef Beans, did you want to say something to our AfterBuzz super fans?
Absolutely. We just want to say thank you all for tuning in, especially during this time. We all appreciate your love and support. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you're at, please leave us a nice, juicy comment. AfterBuzz has definitely helped us a lot and given us confidence inside and outside of the studio. As you can see, whether we're in the comfort of our homes or wherever we're at, we're still here to give you the goods. So thanks for tuning in, and we have a powerful rest of the after show for you.
Yes.
Right. Thanks, Chef.
Nope.
So talk a little bit about parenting, because I know motherhood and parenting is a huge thing that was, we get to kind of see in episode 1 and episode 2. We're talking about how we can see that kind of thread of kind of trying to be in control with both girls. I thought it was really interesting how, and I think somebody pointed this out before, how Reese is trying to go in and kind of be the savior, and she's really embedded in her kids' lives. And I feel like probably every kid that comes in the house, you know, because she was really concerned about Izzy's friend, and oh, why don't you talk to this friend anymore, you know? And like the opposite, that's totally juxtaposed with Mia, whose only focus is Pearl. Like you said, she hasn't met Trip. She saw Moody come over and she like, hey, whatever, you know, she that boy bought you a bike, like whatever. And the only person we kind of see her pay any kind of attention to, or like even be kind to, right, is Izzy, which I thought was really interesting, you know, when she saw her doing the spray paint outside. Well, and I guess also Izzy still had the "I am not your puppet" written on her forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that she kind of connected with her as artists. So that's really interesting to see. What did you guys think about that, about the juxtaposition of motherhood between the two?
I just think she feels Izzy's pain. I think she thinks she feels Izzy's pain because she thinks she knows women like Elaina. Like we've all said, we don't know who these people actually are, but she thinks she knows. And so I think that connection with Izzy is cool because now Izzy can see that there are people like her.
Right, and I also think, like you said, she connects with her from the artist standpoint, because when it comes to art is so subjective. There's no rules. It can kind of come with like this radical type mindset. So every time I feel like Mia sees Izzy, she sees a piece of herself, not from the Black woman perspective, but like the artist perspective. And to try to exist in this world where you don't feel as though you fit in. I think that's kind of what the head nod slash was like, look, you're trying to go cheaper. She was trying to make that connection from the artist standpoint, but we can see she's still very much so shut off from a lot of things.
Yeah.
I love that scene so much because I felt that Izzy had a moment where she was like, I believe this girl. I believe Mia. I believe he wasn't trying to be her friend. You know, like, us artists have to stick together. She just kept it super simple yet organic. And I felt like Izzy for the first time was like, oh, someone is not trying to, you know, BS me. It's a artist to artist. And I don't think she ever gets to feel that.
I think with Elaina, like trying to pay attention to Pearl so much, it's just a power move to try to control Mia more. I think that's what that is.
That's interesting.
I know. That was so early on. You thought that so early on? I wanted to believe it was organic.
That's interesting. Because Mia does have a lot of manipulative traits in her. So now that you bring that up,
but also, I mean, I think Elaina is also not, I mean, I'm sure she's using Pearl to be manipulative, but I think that whole conversation that they have, that's the metaphor for the apple, when she said you can smell the apple, but you can't taste the apple. You want to devour it whole. So she had this part of motherhood, which her identity is completely wrapped up in motherhood. This is the same for me though, but her identity is completely wrapped up. So when she has one child that's pulling away, and you know, her daughter is going off to Yale, Trip don't pay her any attention, you know what I mean? Izzy is the baby and Izzy's off. She has a chance to mother someone else. And this person, Pearl, really wants to fit in. She wants to do the opposite of what Izzy wants to do, right? In the first two episodes. So she wants to fit in, she wants to acclimate. And so I feel like Elaina is the gateway to that. So Elena's like, you want to fit in? You want to acclimate? Come here. Let me mother you. Let me go talk to this person about this issue you're having. Let me, you know what I mean? Let me do all the things that I want to do with my kids who don't appreciate it with you. Yeah.
And I think it also, if we're going to bring that up, and we're paying attention to a few of the racial inconsistencies, we also got to speak about privilege, like the white woman privilege in this world, this fictional world, because how she speaks about Yale, for example, the entry level question, think about a time where you had to overcome something, the monologue that she had speaking about, I worked so hard, we worked so hard. Who are you to think you would ever have to do something because you have hardworking parents? So speak about that to even try to solve Pearl's issue. Oh, that happened? Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Like, she's coming from like this pedestal of privilege that she leaks out when she needs to. hey, officer slash rent a cop, whatever you want. You need to it's just kind of like, I'm in control. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about your dry cleaning. This is when he's like, she's just, I don't know. But the one time that I did see that she wasn't in control, I hope I'm not jumping the gun, was during like the book club situations where Mia had to come in and swoop in. You could kind of see her trying to control the environment. Oh, I have someone refilling up the food and everything like that. But for some reason, I can't communicate my answer to this question without everyone looking at me like I got 1,000 heads.
Yeah.
Sorry for rambling, but
no, it was great.
I think that the race issue was really interesting, and you know, it just continues to say a lot. Especially, it reminded me of, oh, it's interesting that they were at dinner, because it reminded me of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, right? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, really old black and white movie, and it was all about this white lady who's dating a black guy, and he's a doctor and he's successful, and she thought her parents were really, back in the days, the terms they used to use was liberal. She thought they were really liberal, but then they had a bunch of misgivings, and she was really surprised. And so it just makes me think that it makes me think of her in that way. You know what I mean? Like a well-meaning person that thinks they're liberal and thinks that they've accepted black people because her daughter has a black boyfriend. But you know, when the black
like that, she's done her part.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I've done my part. Affirmative action, especially at that time in the 90s, where you know, there's like, okay, like it was kind of still, people were still trying to figure it out. Okay, it's a good thing, but is it really a good thing? Like it was like kind of like that era. So, like you said, her bringing up these things as if she's done her due diligence of a U.S. citizen as a white woman. Like, look, I've done this. I'm still walking on eggshells as far as communicating this role that I want. I don't want to call her a housemaid, but I mean, you can tell she's always at these crossroads with trying to be liberal / be transparent with who exactly she is.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't know. That's the whole thing.
We don't know.
We don't know. That's why it's a killer. We don't know. Like,
that's why the book club was.
You know.
No, what were you going to say, Kay, about the book club?
I was just saying let's get into it. That's why the book club was so interesting, because like you said, we're used to seeing her in control, right?
Yep.
And and kind of ruling the roost and, you know, whatever. And so that was really interesting to see, especially because it was the vagina monologues, to see, you know, because from that point, we see her kind of, not a bull in a china shop, because she is very charming, but we see her at every obstacle, mowing every obstacle down. She continues to get what she wants. She traverses through life pretty easily. And I mean, she is really gutsy and she's very feisty. Like, she's a strong woman, no doubt. She's all of those things. So it's really interesting that when she gets to book club, number one, she can't say vagina. Number two, she's never looked at her vagina. I thought that was so fascinating.
I thought it was so obvious. Like, and that's why, you know, Mia had to swoop and help her out of it with what she was trying to say. Because I think that Elena's view obviously was much different than people that are somehow more uppity than her. How do we find them? That was crazy. So I think it's interesting that Mia swooped in and then she actually was verbally agreeing with Mia and showing her friends that she agreed with that side versus them. So that's a very interesting perspective, to not go with her group and to go outside of it. That it is another confusing thing. Who are you? I don't know who you are.
No, it absolutely was interesting. To get back on the vagina monologues topic, I've never read vagina monologues, but based off of what I'm hearing from it, each vagina is representative of a different personality trait or getting to know in some capacity. So I think we speak to, and this was a great reflection of how Elaina doesn't really know herself. She kind of does, but it's like not really being able to communicate it in that moment, I think was just like very, very telling. She hired Mia for this regard as far as helping her out management, but who knew she would need her to kind of rescue her in this verbal warfare that she was experiencing. So
yeah, that idea kept repeating, like, how can we see ourselves when we're reluctant to see who we really are? But I think everybody has that, like, same issue, right? I mean, some people better than others, but coming from a counseling background, we call that Johari's window. There's like a 4 square, and in each square, there's the ability. Basically, there is one square says that you can see people, see how people see you, and then see how you're perceived, and then there's just like an invisible square where you cannot tell how other people see you. Like you can see how people see you to a certain extent, but there's always going to be a blind spot there, and I think it's more than a blind spot. It's more than a blind spot for a lot of these characters, but really interesting to see, kind of hopefully see that explored as we continue on. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And Mia got invited to the book club as well. So who's to say she's not going to get more of the attention now that she's in the book club? Because we also see that Elaina likes that, she likes that attention. Welcome to my house. Oh, can I help you? How's this? But now
might get swooped.
Right. Right.
They're both that's what's funny. They're both playing games with each other.
Yeah.
But I did see that real connection over that apple metaphor. That's what was interesting to me. Because I'm surprised that because Mia is very emotionally like opaque. You can't. She doesn't say anything. She's a very, very much emotionally shut down. That's why when Bebe first wanted to tell her the story about the baby, she was kind of like, I don't want to hear that story about that baby, you know? So I was very surprised to see her kind of open up. And when she opened up just a little bit, then she didn't like what she was getting back, you know? So that her, you know, well, I helped your daughter out and I went to the thing. And she's like, oh, no, done. I knew I shouldn't have said anything to you. Like, I'm out. But there was a little bit of cracking there.
Yeah, her daughter's, that's a soft spot for her. You can tell her daughter is her world. So whenever it comes to something that tips that off balance in some capacity, she kind of reacts the same way. So I don't know if that's connected to whatever happened in the past, these random flashbacks that we're getting, but her daughter seems to always be around. Even a very random flashback car scene that I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was a lot. But I felt like Pearl was a genius in that moment because she knew that her mom wouldn't help her. And so she was able to go to Elaina because she know Elaina has privilege and power and is an overbearing mother. So she was able to say, oh, can you help me with this? She knew that Elaina is the type that's not going to help you write anything. She knew Elaina was going to go in there and assert that charm and power that she has and use it to get her way, which I thought was really smart of Pearl. And when her mom came home and said, what did you do about it? And she said, I took care of it. She did take care of it. She took care of it in her own way. And I thought that was really savvy.
It just goes to show Pearl is probably the person who knows her mom the best, and her mom doesn't even know that. It's like she knows her the best, and she has taken all of the notes all of these years, and that's why she went and did that. That's why she handled it like that.
She got that from her mother.
You know, the tree. What did it say? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
All these apples. I think I'm gonna need to give me an apple today. All this apple stuff.
With some peanut butter.
Right. No, I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed each character development situations, but there's still a lot of unraveling to do. I'm like in this weird floating space to where I'm like, am I a team? This person team? I don't know. I'm like in this weird neutral space.
I like all the racial dynamics as well. I think it's really interesting with the boyfriend when Elaina says, you guys probably have a lot in common. And the boyfriend picks up on everything. But it's interesting because Pearl knows, like she's savvy enough that she knows, but she wants to not ingratiate herself to the family, kind of ingratiate herself to the family, but also she wants to fit in so badly. She's like, no, I'm not playing this game with you. Because he's like, oh yeah, you like rap music and basketball? We have so much in common. And Pearl just kind of brushes him off. And every time he tries to come to her with something, she's like,
right,
like doing good. I don't need solidarity with you. I think that is really interesting.
Pearl is sharp, even to how she took care of her class situation. She could have easily just stayed back and been like, okay, but she's striving for something higher. And she even let Moody know. Like Moody was like, oh, so you're not gonna stay with me? And she's just kind of like,
Nope.
Yeah.
Gotta go in peace. Sorry, Moody. Don't mean to put you in a moody mood.
I love Moody with his puka shell necklace. That was so 90s. So we're gonna get into our special segment with Trina.
Yes. All right. So we all love the soundtrack to this show already. So I just want to quick hear, what 90s music do y'all want to be on this show? Tell me, anybody.
TLC. TLC.
Ooh.
What did you say?
TLC.
Dexter. I'm sorry, my dog's barking.
She said, Kay, you said TLC. Which song by TLC?
Any TLC song is totally 90s. I'd be okay with anything. You know, the early TLC, they kicked off in the 90s. So, Creep.
What about you, Chef?
All of that.
The song, I would have to go with NSYNC, Bye Bye Bye. Just them. The only reason why I said NSYNC is because this show has so many random 90s songs, and I feel like that's another random 90s song that they can insert when somebody's leaving the room or something. It's like,
Yeah, or do
that.
like an acoustic version like they've been doing of some other things too. That'd be dope.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the first song that comes to mind. NSYNC, Bye Bye Bye.
What about you, Monsi?
I'm so sorry about my dog, guys. This quarantine is I'm sorry. He's just upset that he can't go outside. I'm so sorry. I don't know if this is 90s, but I really would like J-Lo, I'm Real.
Close enough.
He can
Close
come
enough.
out. I felt like all these girls could come out and be like, no, this is me. I'm real. Like, you guys, this is who I am. And I would love to see I'm Real in there.
I think anything salt and pepper is good with me.
Right.
Yes.
Has to.
Yeah, they had some great ones. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're super excited. Episode 3 is going to be up. Well, episode 3 is up, and then episode 4 will be up next week. So we're gonna do episode 3 tomorrow, same time, and then we'll cover episode 4 next week. Thank you guys so much. Where can our viewers check you guys out if they want to keep up with you?
Well, you can find me on all social media platforms at chef_beans with a Z.
And y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Trina Dong.
And you guys can find me across social media at Monse Bolanos, MONSE.
And you can find me at HostKay, HostKay on Instagram and Twitter. That's it for us. Thank you for joining us, guys, at Little Fires Everywhere.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.